All right, guys, let's take a look at DraftKings. Let's see what they're saying about the Covington fight. And this is right now, guys. This line could change a little bit, but as of right now, and I was just on ESPN, Covington is now $3, with 3-1. Meaning if you bet against him, if you bet on George Masvidal for every $100 you get, you can win $300. Now, stay right there, because you're going to take somebody's opinion, generally. You're going to listen to some experts in the room. The pound-for-pound greatest fighter in the world, who is the common opponent between these two most recently, Kamaru Usman, just gave his thoughts. Now, this is going to mean something to you. And here's what Usman said. He didn't go as far as to make an actual prediction. He said, as it pertains to Masvidal, Masvidal is going to have a much harder time as a strike-heavy fight plan, landing combinations on a guy who he used to train with, meaning Covington. He then said Covington is going to find that George Masvidal nowadays and at this weight class of 170 pounds is much more difficult to take down than he used to be in practice. I only bring that to you because I see it the same way. I'm right in line with Kamaru Usman. These guys don't know each other. They just think they do. Those training sessions 3 years ago, common coach and Mike Brown, is still with Masvidal. What does that mean? We damn right it means something. Mike Brown used to come up with the game plans of Colby Covington. Mike Brown is the one that showed Colby Covington the offense that he used to do. He then left. Mike Brown is going to be able to not only form Jorge Masvidal for his own offenses, he's going to be able to prepare him for the offensive attacks of Colby Covington, right? It's a tough spot. We're splitting hairs here. We're not saying something super dynamic that is going to change the way that you want to talk and look about this fight, but Colby Covington is going the other direction. DraftKings, 3 days ago, Colby Covington was a 2.5 to 1 favorite. He's now 3. It's spreading. The money's coming in, and people are very sure on Colby. Now, I'm bringing this to you, and I'm bringing it to you in conjunction with what Kamaru Usman just laid out, because Kamaru's right. These guys, they don't know each other. When you strike in the gym at an absolute maximum, you're going 80%. If you ever spar with a guy that goes more than 80% when it comes to with actual damaging techniques, which is the punches and the kicks and the elbows and the knees, you don't ever spar with him again. You cannot trust that guy. These two trusted each other. And for them to have this kind of trust meant they followed the code, which was no more than 80%. I fully see it the way Kamaru sees it. Yes, Colby is likely to know a lot of those nuances and a lot of those mannerisms. He's likely to know what comes behind a jab, but also what comes behind a double jab. That's true. But neither Colby or Kamaru, any of us, or anybody that witnessed these sparring sessions are going to know what would have happened if that was at 100%. Now, the grappling, which Colby favors, is at 100% at all times. But you can't hurt the guy. You're not breaking a code. You're just trying to change the position. You're pushing and you're pulling. That's fine. But it all weighs into them not knowing each other, which also at DraftKings allows you to do what, guys? Make a prop bet. Yeah, make a prop bet. So let's just make this real easy. Who do you think's going to win the fight? Great. We don't know it's why they're going to go fight, but you've answered that question. Let's look a little bit deeper what DraftKings allows us to do. Do you think either one of these guys can stop the other guy? Because this is where you can get real action. You can throw your hands up, say, I don't know what the hell's going to happen. I just know we're going to have a long, drawn-out war. And you're right. I see it with you. To stop George Masvidal, which very few men have been able to do. However, if you're a little bit of a risk taker, the history of combat sports says once a guy gets knocked out, he's now much easier to be knocked out. And you are going to look at the fact that Masvidal got folded up by Kamaru Usman. What are you going to do with that, right? It's your money. What are you going to do with that? I think in a best case scenario for Colby Covington, I don't think Colby is planning to finish George Masvidal. I don't think Colby goes into a fight ever thinking about a finish. I think he will take a finish if it's there, but he looks at it the same way all wrestlers do, which is for a long, drawn-out evening. In the world of wrestling, which Colby grew up in, I will tell you, we don't care about a long night. We don't care if every match goes the distance, as long as we got more points than the other guy when time runs out. It's one of the reasons that these wrestlers are very dominant at finding positions, but then they get labeled boring. Some wrestlers get labeled boring because they'll get in these positions, they'll be grinding, they're ticking the clock, they're getting closer to the finish line, which was their goal in the first place. They don't find the ending, but they were never looking for it. I bring that to you because I do think Colby is unlikely to finish Masvidal. I don't think Masvidal can finish Colby. I think Colby's got one of the best chins in the game. Jon Anik went as far, and Jon Anik knows gaming. Nobody can speak the language, right? You got Doug and you got Anik. Anik will always talk about the prop bets, and he'll always take the prop bets more than he will head-to-head action. He'll encourage you to do the same, and I think along that vein, you should give a real consideration to looking at the bet. Is it going to go all 5? Is it going to go less than all 5? That's a meaningful one to me, because I feel as though we've got a long evening here. I've gone as far as to tell you that I see this as a career-ending fight for Masvidal if Covington wins. Now, the reason I say that is because if Colby does what Colby does, he is going to maul the current BMF champion and the second biggest draw in the industry for 25 minutes. It's hard to come back from. You go out there, you get caught one time. That's what happened to Masvidal in his last fight. He's out there, he's mixing it up. The world champion, he takes a shot that none of us could have taken. We give him a full pass. Same thing that Askren happened, right? Karma's a real thing. Everybody wants to tease Askren for taking a knee to the face in 5 seconds. You couldn't have taken that knee. Nobody could. The problem is when it's long and drawn out. Now we don't have a question. Now we don't get to say, I was caught. If you don't have a submission, we don't say, he caught me. You get knocked out, lucky punch. You don't get to have that. It's very damaging. And it's also the way that I think that it's going to go. This is going to be a very hard fight. I don't know that it's going to be competitive. I don't. Look, if Colby can get a takedown in the first round, he can get him in all the other rounds too. And you're going to have a ground and pounded affair. But if Colby can't get a takedown in that first round, there's no assurances that this coming in 2 through 5. Being stuck on your feet with Masvidal. Masvidal's a technician, and this is one thing that people always miss. I really do encourage you that I just got done looking at lines at DraftKings. There's some money to be made. Here's what you need to know about Masvidal. You all think of him as a street fighter, don't you? Don't you? A brawler. Sure you do. You think of him as a brawling street fighter because that's what he looks like. Because that's the neighborhoods who he came from. He is not. As a pro, he's about as proficient technically as any fighter that's ever done it, particularly in the stand-up. Masvidal is an artist. What direction his toe is facing, what direction his heel is going, where his elbows are, the placement of his head. He is a technician when he's in the ring. He does not succumb to pressure. He does not go for the bloodthirsty crowd. He is calm, he's methodical, he's dynamic. Masvidal is a thinker. That's the one thing that people never understand about because he looks so rough. He's a very intelligent fighter. He's a very intelligent person. You go to Colby Covington. Colby, who's also looks like a technician, goes the other way, that's why he calls himself Chaos. All hell breaks loose. When Colby is in the ring, it is one speed. He's got one switch. It's on. He's coming at you. All the intangibles come into play. All the heart, the grit, the conditioning, the experience, they all come into play, but it's chaos. It is not by the book. It is not a 1 followed by a 2, dip to the body, come outside, finish with a leg kick. It's not. It's a mess. Very hard to plan for. Because I see a lot of people betting on Masvidal for the fact, one, it's a good bet. You turn 100 into 300 at DK right now. Moreover, the coaches, they know they've got an insight into Colby's mind. That's true. That is accurate. It's like one of my coaches told me, I may show you everything you know, but I'll never show you everything I know. It's true. That does favor Masvidal. Staying at the gym, having those teammates, having those workout partners, having a coach sit and study your opponent, it's helpful. How much? Right? We're splitting hairs. But you got the BMF champion taking on the interim champion. I mean, you have 2 champions. This is a super fight to the highest of levels, and this whole thing is being fought over inches, millimeters. That's what this whole entire contest is about. So you guys think about it. I don't want to hurt you with your hard-earned money, but I do want you to see that the first thing you want to ask before you go over to DraftKings is who's going to win the fight. But the second thing you want to ask is how and when. You don't even have to pick a winner if you are certain it's not going to go the distance. You don't have to do either if you're certain it is going to go the distance. Get to DraftKings, have some fun. Tell them I sent you.